Looking to improve your life, brush up on your personal growth techniques? You are in the right place. Welcome to Life's Little Lessons with your host, author of Designing Your Own Destiny, Kevin A. Dunlap.
Hello everybody, this is Kevin Dunlap with Life's Little Lessons, and today I have a very interesting guest. This is a gentleman that was introduced to me by a mutual friend, and after having a few pre-interview chats with this guy, I absolutely wanted to have him on our show. His name is Paul Fuggle. He is a strategic business consultant for his company called Clear Focus Consulting. He currently has lived in Ely, Cambridgeshire, England. So you probably notice the accent differences between American and the British accent. I absolutely love talking with this guy, and I'm very happy to have him on our show. So today, here is Paul. Paul, how are you today?
I'm very well, thank you, Kevin. I'm sitting here looking at the gorgeous sunshine, well, kind of, and it's quite unusual for having the nice English summer. We're in the middle of a heat wave, and obviously I'm English, so I'm going to be talking about the weather because that's what we do.
Well, yes. I don't know that many British people or English people, but yes, I know the weather is a big factor out there. And right now, just so that you guys are aware, this is like 10 o'clock in the morning here in Vegas, Las Vegas, Nevada, and it's actually 6 o'clock in the afternoon, Paul's time. So we're actually we're on the same day. We just happen to be at different ends of the workday.
Exactly.
So Paul, could you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do and why did you do that?
Yeah, sure. So, okay. So who am I? Well, I'm a father. I'm a husband. I have 3 older children and a young child a young daughter who's 9, 8. He thinks she's 9. Forwarding her life for her. Who we home educate, and I consult with small business owners. I basically help them where they're getting where they're really struggling in terms of like they're too dissipated in their focus. They're probably doing a whole load of stuff with like loads of marketing things that are just overwhelming them. And I help them just cut through all the noise really and get to a point where everything's simplified and they have a personal strategy for their business that makes things simple for them. So that's what I do in a nutshell. There's more to me than that. There's things that I enjoy. I love film. I love dark beer. Warm beer, as the Americans would call it. Yeah. It's just I enjoy my life. I'm very grateful for what I have. And this year I've also recently started, I've just taken over hosting a mastermind event in Las Vegas. So I do actually get over to America once a year at least now. So that's really cool.
Yeah, what kind of mastermind in Las Vegas are you doing? I mean, that's pretty specific. It's in my hometown.
Yeah, so it's called a Bug-Free Mind Mastermind. It's 120 business leaders in the personal development sector, mainly sort of in using internet marketing and personal development, and they get together once a year by invite only and hang out together and basically just have a lot of fun. Last year we had a party, we had a boat cruise, we had go-karting. It was a phenomenal event. And then we had 3 days of speakers, including Les Brown, Jay Shetty, Rob Nelson, so people like that. So some really fantastic content and, just inspiration as well. So people can learn, can have fun and kind of take the attitude for, with the event that friendship comes first and the business comes as a result of that friendship. So that's certainly been my experience. And I think when you build rapport with people, you naturally end up working with the people who like you. You repel the people who don't like you. And that makes for a happier life for everybody concerned, because if you've got clients who don't like you, it's not fun for them either.
Well, that's true, and that's actually that's funny you said that, because I was just attending another training just last week, and they were talking about doing masterminds where half the mastermind is just social. There's half of it in the first half of some content like in the morning, but the afternoon is all social. Most of the business happens
Hmm.
building a rapport. Like, you know, I like this person. This person's someone I feel more comfortable basically just doing business.
Yeah. Yeah, and we specifically created that event so that you can actually have um, loads of time to network and actually hang out. So there are, there's dinners every night. There's all of everything that we do you have space to actually go and chill out with people. So if you want to go to the bar to 4 o'clock in the morning, you can do, because we don't start the actual presentations till 11 o'clock in the morning. Well, that would be the same day if you went to bed at 4 o'clock, but you've still got time to sleep. I mean, you're in Vegas. If you're going to bed at 11 o'clock and getting up at 7, you're not really in Vegas. You're not experiencing it, are you?
Oh, that is something I've noticed about being in Vegas. This is a 24-hour town. There is no last call at 2 o'clock. I mean, some places do close, but a
Yeah.
lot of places, yeah, it's 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. I mean, one of my friends were in town this last weekend. I think I got home about 4:30 in the morning. So
Yeah. That works for me. I'm a night owl, so.
that way you don't have to worry about the jet lag or anything. You just stay
That's right. Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about your business. It's called Clear Focus Consulting. I know you call yourself a strategic business consultant. And how long have you been doing that for? And what is that?
So I've been doing business strategy now for over 20 years. I started I started for a company. I was working for a company called UUNet, which became World Comm. And if you're familiar with American corporate history, you'll know that World Comm were the largest corporate fraudsters, bigger than Enron, I think. Nothing to do with me. But it was, interesting working for, at the time, was the world's second largest telco, an internet service provider. And I was responsible for customer overseas system strategy throughout the whole of Europe. So handling 32 different call centers across different languages, and implementing systems and strategies that would actually enable them to become more efficient, more effective, provide better customer service. So I was involved in big projects over a long period of time, 2 to 3 years, 2-3 year rollouts, and ended up with the stuff that I was doing, saving the company, saving WorldCom, something in the region of 10 million sort of year on year in terms of cost savings for the things and the strategies that we're doing. So when WorldCom decided that they weren't going to play by the rules anymore, I decided I'd leave, set up on my own, and I carried on doing the consulting. And I've always loved strategy. I've always loved the thinking big and seeing and asking the question, well, why are we doing this? Why are you playing around with I don't know, Facebook Live or YouTube, or why are you doing? What's the reasoning behind it? What's the result that you're trying to accomplish? And so I naturally kind of sort of just continued doing that, with small businesses. I'd looked at we actually at one point saw a hole in the market for a shopping cart system. So we set up a shopping cart system that we sold into small business for small businesses. I love small businesses. I love helping them. I love seeing them grow. I love the speed at which you can make a change and see the results. Unlike a big corporate where it's like turning a tanker and it takes 2 years to see anything and then they ditch the project. So whereas like small businesses can pivot really quickly and can make changes, and you can see the impact in that person's life. You can see the impact in the team, your team's life. You can see the impact in their families. You can see the impact in the community. You can see the results, and that's I love that. So basically, when I work with now, I only focus on small businesses. I work with small business owners and entrepreneurs, and I help them. As I said earlier, I really help them just get clear where they're overwhelmed a lot of the time with all the tactics and stuff that are constantly thrown at us. I mean, you must see this all the time on your Facebook feed. Here's this tactic, here's that tactic, here's this strategy, here's that, right? And nobody's really paying attention to that particular business, to your particular business. No one's asking you, what's going on in your business, what's happening in your business today, where are you trying to get to, what is it that you want to do. And so it just kind of like going, well, here's something that you should do, here's something that you should do. It's like, well, why should you be doing this? If it's not right for you, then you shouldn't be doing it. So what I help people do is clear through all of that noise, slim down what they're spending their time on, going around in circles a lot of the time, not feeling like they're making any progress, sometimes to the detriment of their cash flow or their finances, and actually just go, right, what's a clear strategy that's actually going to get you to a point where you're not overwhelmed, where you got the time with your family, where you can have some, have your free time, and have the cash coming in, and the life that you want. So what is it that you really want? So it's just simplifying that down into, basically, I try and simplify it. Well, I do simplify it down into a one-page plan that somebody can use.
Now, does that include like eliminating tasks, or do you do more like delegating, or
elimination? Yeah. Why are we even doing this at all? Or could this be done in a more effective way? Could this be systemized? Could this be scaled? Could you delegate it? So there's a whole range of things that you can do to actually make something more effective. And it will be dependent on, on where the business is at. And like I say, if you're an entrepreneur and you're just starting out and you're bootstrapping, you may not have people to delegate to, or you may not have the cash to, to invest to delegate out to people. So how can you systemize that? Or how could you do it in a more effective manner? Or should you be doing it at all? Is this where you should be focusing your time? Because if that's your most valuable resource, as a solopreneur, is that where you should be spending it? Or should you be doing a task that's going to actually be generate more revenues, or generate more cash, or maybe even just doing this one task may actually generate more time for you, give you more time than this other one over here.
Well, that reminds me of one of my favorite books I like to read, that I've read, and it's one of the 3 books I recommend to all entrepreneurs, being a business coach myself as well. It's one that's written by a gentleman by the name of Cambridgeshire, called The 4-Hour Work.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how big it is in the UK, but here
in
the US, it was a big book. And one of the things he talks about is the acronym DEAL, DEAL. And D stands for what can you delegate, E stands for what can you eliminate, A stands for what can you automate, and then once you get all of that done, what are you going to do with your time when you're left over, which is liberate. Delegate, eliminate, automate, and liberate. So that's exactly what I talked about as well. You just use the word for it.
That's spot on. Yeah, that's spot on. And when we're talking about, but there's another guy, which I'm sure anyone who's sort of done any kind of business, small business consulting, will have read, is Michael Gerber's E-Myth. The whole thing. Yes. And that's a phenomenal book in terms of, you start with where you'd want to be, where you envision being. If you want to work in the business for the rest of your life, that's fine. There's no judgment on that, but just be clear that's what you're going to be doing. But if you want to,
and you're only going to hit one level of success, because if you're in the book, if you're acting as a technician, what the book talks about, then you cannot do much of the managerial or the entrepreneurial.
Absolutely. And some people are very happy doing that. I mean, I know plenty of plumbers or decorators or electricians who they don't want to be managed. They don't want a big electric. They just like doing the job that they do, and that's fine. But just so long as you recognize that and you're happy with that, that's perfectly okay. But other people want to expand, they want to grow, they want to scale, they want to, like you say, want to have that entrepreneurial lifestyle where you can travel and your business still runs, and you come back and it's made more money because you're not in it. That's then that's a different mind. It's a different way of thinking and a different set of challenges.
Okay, well, that actually is the second book that I recommend people to read, and the third one is one that I'm reading right now, and it's a book that really changed. I mean, I'm only halfway through it right now, but it was a book that just changed my entire viewpoint of running a business, and it's called Build a Story Brand.
I haven't heard that one, so I'm going to write that one down. What's it called? Build a story brand.
Either build a story brand or building a story brand.
Okay.
While you're writing that down, I'll tell you, our viewers and listeners out here, what it's about. And it's about most people, when they build a business, they want to be the hero. They're the ones like, and the book refers to like a Luke Skywalker. They want to be Luke Skywalker, or they want to be, let's say, this is called the Matrix. They want to be Neo, or no, whatever it is. And in any story, any real story, if you really break it down, is the hero comes across a challenge he cannot, or he or she cannot overcome. They go seek guidance from from a guide, from a mentor, or whatever, and then they go and they usually defeat the problem. That's the classic story. So, like I say, with Luke Skywalker, the first two movies of Star Wars, his guide was Obi-Wan Kenobi, and then in the second movie was Yoda. Neo's guide was Morpheus. All these people go to do that. The reason what this book talks about is that if you're building your business where you're the hero, then you're going to run out of business quickly. What you want to do is, going by the book, you build your business as if you're the guy. It's the client is the hero. So you're the Obi-Wan, you're the Yoda, you're the one that provided that service. And if you look at that, let's say you as an example, if you try to say, look at me, look at me, look at me, how great I am, then you're being the hero. You could very easily go out of business. But if you go in there and say, hey, how can I be of service? How can I be your guide? How can I be your Obi-Wan, your Yoda, your Morpheus? Then you try to take to a client from that. Hey, I've hit this obstacle. Now they come to you or myself, and we're guiding them through that obstacle, how to learn how to grow and how to be better, so that they can grow and defeat those other demons or whatever they have, those other obstacles that they have in the future. So I feel like I was reading that book, like, wow, that just it really changes my mind on how to advertise myself. I mean, if my page is all about how great I am, well, no, that's now I'm advertising as the hero. No, you're only advertising as the guy. So you're building your story of your business, or you're building your business as the story of how can you get somebody from point A to point B. So it becomes outward focused rather than inward. So
Yeah,
that's a great concept of a book.
I'll definitely read. There's a couple of things that you mentioned there which kind of really really kind of resonate with me, and stuff that I've studied quite a lot, which is one is the hero's journey, which is Joseph Campbell, who sort of put it together. I think his book is the myth of 1,000 faces, and it's fascinating, like how humans have this archetypal story that the hero's journey, which is pretty much what you're saying. The hero goes and faces a challenge and has to get through it, and they have their mentor or their hero partner with them who actually helps them along. And you only have to look at like any kind of big box office film, and you can pretty much like just map it. Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings, or what, it's all the same story. It's all exactly. But the interesting thing is that what you're saying about the kind of being of service. It's like for me, it's so much more exciting and enjoyable to actually realize to be able to help someone through that transition, and actually to see them become who you can already see that they are. So I mean, if you're talking about the Obi-Wan sort of thing, he already knew that Luke Skywalker was a Jedi. Okay, so he knew it before Luke knew it. And a lot of the time when I'm working with a client, it's like, I know what you're capable of well before you know what you're capable of. I know what your business is capable of, and I believe, I don't believe it, I know it before you even believe that it's possible. And we'll get you to the knowing stage as well. So but then you really start to see when that happens, when someone actually goes and creates their dream, creates their business the way they want it, and creates their life the way they want it. That is like, that's what gets me out of bed in the morning. That's that's the thing that that not me going, oh, I'm so great, because like yeah whatever.
Well, and I'm the exact same way. I mean, when I see my my clients, my friends, my comrades or chaps or whatever word you want to use. When I see them hitting the successes, um, that that to me is like one of the greatest things on the planet is 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 just seeing that as it occurs. I mean, when I look back, say, if I look at a friend of mine, here's where I was in June of 2017. This is where I am in June 2018. Like, and I see that they made those great strategies. If it was because of my consultation or coaching or not, I mean, I love to see people hitting this higher level of stuff. I mean, I've got a client right now here in Vegas. When I first met him, he owned one. It's called a Boost Mobile, which is a telephone service provider. He owned one outlet. And then the next thing I know, he's at 15, and he's on his way to only 21 Boost Mobile stores by the end of 2015. So it's like, just seeing him, like, seeing him grow over the last 4 or 5 years, it's phenomenal. There's another chain of franchises out here in Vegas called Subway, which is a sandwich shop. And I've seen this one company grow up only 1 or 2 Subway shops. I think they now own like 15 or 17 Subway shops, all here in the Las Vegas market. So just seeing people reinvesting into themselves, reinvesting into their education, reinvesting into their personal growth and development. Next thing is then open up the second store, open up the third store, or the fourth store. That to me is like that's one of the most rewarding things that I've done.
And it's a privilege to be able to be part of that. That's what it is. It's a real, for someone for a business owner to trust you enough to let you in and be honest enough with themselves and with you to enable you to actually facilitate change. Like, that's a privilege, that someone that opens up that and that fully to allow you to help them. I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, if I was a direct influence on their progress, then that's even more rewarding. Like,
yeah,
for me, we had to I wake in the morning like, okay, here's my friend, let's call him Bob. Seeing Bob go through all of these changes, and that I was a part of that. That to me is the most rewarding thing of it all.
Yeah.
And I mean, because you and I, we may not see it on the daily incremental level, but we zoom out and you look at that on a weekly or monthly or even quarterly levels. Like, okay, we've made some big strides with that person, even with yourself or myself. So that's what that's what gets me up in the morning. That's one of the most awesome things.
Yeah, I agree.
So let me ask you this then: what are one of the biggest challenges you see people go through, and what have you been able to help them overcome?
Okay, I think the biggest challenge, what I see on a day-to-day basis, so it's a very common challenge. Again, it goes back to what I referred to earlier. It's that there is so much noise and so many people imposing their system, if you like. It's like, oh, I found this system, you should use it too, because I've made a lot of money, or I've been very successful in this particular thing. And so you can get inundated with these all the time. I mean, if you're, even if you just are using Facebook personally, you'll be getting like sponsored clicks and all kinds of stuff. So you're constantly being told, okay, well, these are the things, this is this tactic to use. This is this, whether it's YouTube Live, do YouTube or do podcasts or do Facebook Lives or do Facebook ads or do Google ads or, any kind of marketing or sales or anything like that. There are just so many different things that you could do. If you try and do them all, then you're just going to people become overwhelmed, they become stressed, they become spread way too thin, and they're just peddling without actually getting anywhere. Just literally, trying to do a little bit here and a little bit there. And I think I don't see that problem going away. I don't see it going away in terms of the number of platforms that are available to be used. It's only going to increase. Look at the number of ways we got to communicate now. It used to be that we could communicate by phone or letter, maybe fax when we get into the 80s, right? And when I first started work, it was used to have a guy bring the post around twice a day to your desk. That was it, write memos and stuff. Now, if I want to phone somebody, or I want to, I could use Skype. We could use Zoom like we're doing now. We could use a landline. I could use my mobile. I could use WhatsApp. I could use Facebook Messenger. It's like, and there's all these different platforms. So these platforms are not going to disappear, right? The choice is going to get greater and greater and greater. And if you keep doing what the masses are doing without thinking why you're doing it, and how it aligns with what you want, and then your focus is just everywhere, and you get nowhere. And so what I think is important, what's really important, is that one of the key things is aligning your life and your business together. Now, you've probably heard of the phrase work-life balance, right? Oh, you've got to have work-life balance. You've got to have work-life balance. I personally think work-life balance is a complete myth. I think work-life balance gives the impression that that they're two separate things. You have life over here on one part of the scale, and you have work over here on the other part of the scale. And you're kind of trying to get the two to marry up. Well, that's not true, because business is a subset of your life. Life is the overall part, and work is a part of your life. So if you view them as two separate things, the risk is that you have your life in one area, you have your business in another area, and you're being pulled in two separate directions. You're being pulled towards what you want from your life, which might be freedom, might be time with your family, might be a whole manner of different things that you want to have. And then over here you've got your business, which is like pulling you in another direction, which is like taking you away from time with your family and taking you away from all this. So and then that causes stress in the owner, and they end up, I see people burning out because all of the stuff that they're doing isn't getting them to where they want. They're not aligned in terms of what they want from their business with their life, and everything is just causing this massive fracturing. So the key thing, the most important thing I see, is that if you align your business with what you desire from your business and with the desires of your life. So first of all, you get clear on what you want from your life. Then you get clear on what you want your business to do to support that life. And then you focus on making that happen. Suddenly, all the noise, you can go, this marketing expert has come in just at the right time, because that aligns with where I'm going, rather than I've got to do all these marketing things because I've been told to do them, and I think it's going to make me grow my business. I think it's going to get me more customers, and I think it's going to get me more cash flow, rather than this is where I'm going. This is what I want to do. And by doing that, you then create the cash flow, you then create the clients, you then create the business that you want. But if you're out of alignment, and even if you're out of alignment within the business, you can have conflicting, directions within the business. You see that a lot in corporates. You'll have the sales team heading in one direction, and the customer service team heading in a different direction, the products team doing something completely different. So you get this conflict. Whereas if you've got everybody pulling in the same direction, you create massive results. You can create massive momentum, and you move forward a lot faster. But that takes courage to stop what you're doing, what you're doing right now, step back, have a look at it, and question, why on earth are we doing this? What are we doing this activity for? Is it getting the result? And
Paul, I'm actually going to hit the pause button here for a second. Well, that's actually very interesting. There was over this last class, over this weekend, maybe you could use this. It was an acronym that was given to us, given to class. The acronym was the word focus. And what it stands for is follow one course until success.
Absolutely, that is spot on. Absolutely spot on.
Because it is the same like you go to a course and say, we got to do all these Facebook Lives and all these Facebook Lives so you get noticed. Then 2 weeks later, go to another course. Or you can get your own podcast show going on. Because it look like it, so you get so scattered by doing all these different techniques. So pick one of those courses of action and just stick with that. And run it for the long haul. Don't keep doing all of these different other tangents. Because, like you said, it's about having clarity, about knowing what it is that you want, and then you pick the vehicle that will help you get there.
And there is that focus on one course of action until successful, and equally, you have to know when to stop doing something as well. So it's kind of it's taking a course of action until you get to a point, and not just the point where something more shiny has come along or another distraction has come along, but we've got to the point where you've gone, actually, this isn't working. We need to change what we're doing, especially when you're thinking about tactics. Strategically, you have a longer period of time to work on. So it's good. You have to understand the difference between timescales of implementing a tactic and seeing the results, and implementing a strategy and seeing a result, and implementing a mission and seeing a result, because they're different timescales. So it's but overall I agree, in principle you focus on the one thing that is that you've committed to, and because it's in alignment with where you want to go, because you think it's going to get you the result that you want, whether that's more cash, more time off, more resources, whatever it is, and then you measure that, and you track it, and you test it, and you keep at it, and if the results show that it clearly isn't working, stop doing it.
Well, it's like you talked about communication. Before we had the letter and a landline telephone, then we moved into the cell phone age, or even way back even before that, you had the telegram. And I mean, right now, if you're still trying to send telegrams, you're not caught up with time. Like you and I, we're on two different continents. We're, the Atlantic Ocean separates us, and even for me, most of the United States also separates us. But we're having a live communication where we're face to face, where we can see each other, and we're using that new technology because that is what will help us implement a better business structure for us. So 5 years from now, maybe there'll be teleportation devices in there. So why would we want to do this virtual thing across the ocean? Why don't we just do it in the same room? I mean, you just don't know what new technology.
No, I saw a video today of a whale being holographically projected into a school gymnasium, and it was phenomenal. Like it jumped out of the floor of the gymnasium and then splashed back in again, and the water's just splashing across the gymnasium, just completely holographic. So who knows? I mean, talking face to face on video was like the future when we were growing up, or certainly when I was,
Right. Yes, I mean, I remember back in the late '80s, they were doing like telegraphic or holographic communications on shows like Star Trek, whatever, where that person is pretending to be in the room.
Yeah.
You see it now like in Mission Impossible or some other stuff. But yeah, where are we going to be in technology 10 years from now? And how is that going to impact your business? For example, if you are, let's say you're still doing this business and it's 2030, and you could be physically in that room with somebody else looking at a holographic generation, you can actually see the structure of the office, making sure everything is looking right. You can actually look at the paper they're holding in your hand to review documents. Instead of, scan that in, email that to me. No, you can actually look at it right there virtually, like with whatever.
And this is the thing: change is happening very, very quickly. Technology is making change happen very quickly. So businesses, business owners, small businesses, need to keep abreast of that and understand how to manage change, because and that's just not just managing change within your business, but managing the change that occurs because of the external change. You only have to look at disruptive technologies like market disruptors like Uber or Airbnb or any of these sorts of companies. who are shaking things up. Driverless car technology is going to shake up the drive, anyone who's got a job driving. So it's just understanding you constantly have to be vigilant and be thinking, what is my strategy? Where am I going? And constantly looking at, where am I now? Where am I starting from now? Because where you started from 2 years ago is completely different to what's happening in the world today. So you have to be aware of that, as well as focusing on where you want to go into the future. It's not just enough to go, this is where I'd love to be. You've got to acknowledge where you are today in order to know where you're traveling to. Because I mean, I said recently on a little on an interview thing that I do on Facebook called Beer and Business, I was talking to my wife and I said, if you want to travel from London to Scotland, okay, and you're starting from London, that's very different from if you think you're starting in London, but actually you're in Las Vegas. Because if you're in Las Vegas and you're traveling to Scotland and you think you're in London, like, you ain't going to get to Scotland, not quickly. You need a different strategy, and so your starting point will determine the strategy that you put, or the route and the plan that you put in place. So it's important to understand both of those things.
Yeah, I think something very similar. Is if you were given a map and you're blindfolded and you were dropped off in the desert and you're a 5-hour journey away from from getting back, they give you 5.5 hours worth of water. What's the most important thing you need to know? Well, where are you on that map, so you can frame your course of action to get to your destination. If you go off, like you said, if I think I'm in London and I'm trying to get to Scotland, and I know I won't take the tube or the train. Well, the tubes, there is no tubes out here.
Yeah, exactly.
But even if there were tubes, they're still going to stop on the east coast of the U.S. We're not going to be able to get across the country.
No, not unless you swim.
So, well, Paul, it's been great having you on the show. I mean, I've learned a lot. Hopefully, our listeners have also learned a lot. Is there a way that people can get a hold of you or get in contact with you in case they want to talk to you further about doing their business?
Yeah, absolutely. If you go to our website, which is clearfocus.consulting, so it's not a .com, it's actually a .consulting. So I'll say that again, clearfocus.consulting. Then just go to the Contact Us page. There's a number of ways to get hold of me. You can, the easiest way is if you want to have a chat, there's a link there to Let's Chat, and you can book in on my calendar, and open to having a conversation with whoever kind of thinks that they'd like to either explore ways of working together or collaborate, or I'm always open to finding out more about other people. You never know where connections are going to lead to and what opportunities are going to arise. So I dedicate some of my working time to actually having those just random, not random conversations, but conversations with people who want to connect. So that's the easiest way, clearfocus.consulting, and just go to the Contact Us page. And also on our website, there's links to LinkedIn and our Facebook page, and we occasionally we're actually testing something at the moment. So this is a thing. We haven't really used Facebook too much because we haven't needed to for the type of business that we are. But what we're testing at the moment is something called we're doing a Facebook Live, which we're calling Beer and Business. But basically, once a week, Philly's my wife, we sit down in front of Facebook, crack open a beer, and talk about a business issue for small businesses. So that's something we just started, and we're seeing testing it, seeing if it's seeing if it's getting the results that we want it to get. And this is the thing, focus on one thing until successful, or it doesn't work, we'll ditch it.
Exactly, and the thing is, you are testing other techniques, and of course, and do it enough time to be able to get recognized. You don't want to do it like twice. No. With it for a little while.
Yeah. You got to have what they call it, a significant sample.
Okay.
Yeah, and you've got to have enough data to actually make it warrant looking at it.
Yes, I agree there. So it's like me with this podcast. When I started it in October 2017, I had no idea where it was going to go. And this is a weekly interview that I'm doing now across the world. And I watched mainly focusing in the U.S. and Canada, but now with Paul being in the UK and my friend Jennifer from Sydney, and then a few other people that are outside of the U.S. This has been phenomenal. Just be able to connect with somebody across the country. This is huge. Just to even to be able to talk to you there in the UK. This is a huge growth for me as well. Without our mutual friend Galena, we never would have met.
I know, it's random, isn't it? That's what I like about these, just the connections that you make. And I only met I've met Galena through a friend, so it's like that 6 degrees of separation. It's fascinating.
Well, and that is yeah, because I mean everybody is connected. You just don't know who. If you don't know who I know, and then the people that I know that they know. I mean, I know like my younger brother is a consultant in Washington D.C. So you know me. I know my little brother. My little brother knows all the presidents he dealt directly with, George the Bushes and Obama and all those people. And then you could say, well, Obama. Let's say Obama, or maybe he knows Trump a little bit as well, and Trump knows the leader of North Korea. So you're 3 degrees in separation. Just like that.
Kim Il-jung, excellent.
So you just never know who you know. So,
no.
She's been bringing so many people to the show because she's done such a great job when she was on the show earlier on. Like she was like episode 9 of the second season. So it's phenomenal. Well, Paul, again, thank you for being on the show. I think we're a little bit longer than we normally run, but it's been great chatting with you. And don't forget to go to his website at clearfocus.consulting. And he has his contact us page on there as well as the chat. He's also got some resources at LinkedIn, Facebook, running a test campaign right now on a weekly show on beer and business, or business and beer. And also, I also have a free gift for you guys. If you go to kevinadunlap.com/free gift, I'm giving away one of my ebooks right now. So on my website at kevinadunlap.com/free gift, and be able to reach out to either myself or Paul. I'm sure both of us will be able to help you out. Maybe you reach out to both of us. So you never know. Any last words before we go, Paul?
No, only really to say I would encourage anyone who's listening to this who is at this moment feel like they're going around in circles and not making the progress. It sounds counterintuitive, but stop what you're doing and take a step back. And if you can't look from outside the business, get somebody in who can give you that outside perspective. I thoroughly recommend it. And really, thank you very much for bringing me on today. I really, really enjoyed talking to you and giving me the opportunity to talk to all your listeners. So thanks very much, Kevin.
It was my pleasure. And I'll be sending you information as to when the show is being launched so that you can also broadcast it to your friends. So,
brilliant. Thank you.
So thank you, everybody, for being on the show today. And thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Life's Little Lessons with your host, author of Designing Your Own Destiny, Kevin A. Dunlap. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit kevinadunlap.com, facebook.com/kevinadunlap.author, and on Twitter @KevinADunlap. We'll catch you on the next episode of Life's Little Lessons.